is the truth? Are we being told the truth? Do you like politics? Well, welcome to the Political Show, only on Active FM.
Hey, and welcome back to the Politics Show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you can call me Giks, and with me in studio we've got
Gavin Ensland.
Pastor Gavin Ensland. The weather is amazing, right?
It's freezing.
It's
been a freezing week.
We are in
the low teens as a maximum, which is cold for Joburg.
Yep, winter has officially welcomed us.
Yeah, and the low minuses.
Yep. So we're like
for the overnight in the morning.
Yes, it's quite hectic.
You see ice on the ground, but today and yesterday there's been no sun to warm anything up. Yeah.
I'm glad though, because nobody wants to be building snowmen in this weather. As much as it's fun, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, the temperature would probably be similar.
Yeah.
So at least you get something positive out of it.
No, I just stay indoors, keep yourself warm with hot coffee.
Have you been in snow?
Once, a very long time. I think when I was in grade 10th grade, and 2 years before that, I'm not sure. So it was 2012, and I think the year or 2 years before that, or something
2010.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
so listen, let me tell you, the last time it really snowed here was 1981.
Really?
Yes, but it was probably shin deep. So the snow all over was above your ankles.
Sure, it wasn't even that bad when it snowed in 2012.
No, it snowed nicely in 2012.
Yeah.
That's been the best snowfall since then. It snowed for quite a while,
Sure.
but not enough for the snow to stay on the ground.
Yeah.
Yes, but no, in 1981, it snowed. It started snowing in the morning, and when I went to bed that night, it was still snowing.
Sure.
I think it was September the 10th, 1981.
Sure, that's interesting.
Yeah, what happened was we got out, it was raining.
Yeah.
I still didn't realize it was going to snow, so I went to school in shorts with a jersey on.
In September.
It was in September. I mean, September, you'd only,
Shocking.
yeah. And then it started raining, but it went dark. I mean, it was so dark, that it was like nighttime.
Sure.
And then it started lightening up. And then what started happening was that about mid-morning, it turned to sleet. So we all looked outside. Then the teacher that was our maths teacher, he'd been overseas on a rugby tour, so he'd seen snow. He says, no, this is not snow, it's sleet. So we all said, we don't care, it looks like snow. And then the next thing he says, no, now it's snowing. Then we went, yeah!
Sure.
And it didn't stop snowing until, well, I went to bed, it was still snowing that night. It looked like Switzerland, the whole place.
Sure, that's interesting.
Yes.
I would have loved to see how Joburg would look like that.
Yes.
I'm sure it would look very pretty.
So, I mean, there was snow for about 2-3 days after. A lot of the snow went the next morning because at about 4 in the morning it started raining. So, when it rains, when you've had snow, then it melts. But there was still, even the next day, there was quite a lot of snow.
Wow, that's interesting.
Even with the rain.
It's shocking that there was snow in September. It's supposed to be our springtime.
Yes. Now, well, spring here can be cold. It can be hot too. It could be 30 or minus 3.
No, yeah, that's true.
You're not sure.
Yeah.
But more often than not, it's going to be closer to 30.
Okay. I'm sure there's like 50% hopes of snow.
Today?
No, I mean as in winter. Because some places have been snowing. So if you see snow in Joburg, it would be cool.
Yes, but we don't get it that often.
Yeah, no, we don't. Well, we're not here to speak about the weather.
No.
We're just letting you know. We are here to speak about the politicization of COVID-19 and bank robbery.
Yes.
That is what we are speaking about today.
Yes, and that's a sad thing. There's a lot of people who've got agendas. I mean, people are dying, and yet they're making politics out of it.
Yeah.
And then the same people making politics out of it are robbing banks.
Yep.
So, all of these socialites and these society people and the people that are on the society pages, and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
When you look at it, many of them are robbing banks
Yep.
in South Africa.
Can you believe it?
Yes, because it's
Yes,
happening.
Yes. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be speaking about today. It's going to be quite interesting. We're going to look at two very big things that are happening now in South Africa. One of them is actually disrespectful, if I could put it, like really, really, really disrespectful in terms of but it's also like a picture of our nation as well, and stuff like that. So it's going to be quite an interesting show, as is always. Our shows are always quite interesting.
Yes, they're so interesting, eh? It's the most interesting stuff on Active FM, which Active FM is the most interesting stuff on radio.
Right.
So we're the most interesting stuff on the most interesting station.
I'm telling you, it's really that.
Sorry,
awesome.
Andrew, with a void.
You're right.
Okay.
And what's the topic? We are sorry.
Yeah, what's exactly? You don't even know what the topic is. At least we know our topic.
Just joking. Like I say, this is the political show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better.
Quiet music is hot music.
Never stop,
Quiet music is hot music.
never drop
Radio has never been better.
in any weather,
Radio has never been better.
in any weather.
Okay, so like we said, we are speaking about the politicization. Is that right?
That's correct.
Of COVID-19
Yes.
and bank robbery. And the first thing we want to speak about is the infamous or famous. Is he infamous? I think he is. I don't know what he's in between being he's popular, but for the wrong reasons, if you can put it that way. Julius Malema. Yes, if you don't know Julius Malema, just look him up and you will find everything you need to know about Julius Malema on the internet.
He's
But
the biggest fan of Donald Trump in South Africa.
that is a joke. That is a big joke. He's not. But anyways, so if you know what's been happening, if you've been keeping up with the politics of South Africa and stuff like that, and the lockdown regulations and all of these things, you would know that we're on level 3 lockdown here in South Africa.
Apparently they're going to level 3 advanced now.
What is level 3 advanced?
They're going to open up more stuff. Maybe
we
you can
gonna
go to
be
the
in
hairdresser
level
and level 3 advanced.
That's interesting. I can't wait to hear that.
A level 3 advanced, you'd think it's tighter. No, it's looser.
It's loose. But that would be the same as going to level 2.
I don't know why. Yeah, never mind. I don't know why they're not going to level 2.
Anyways, so from the 1st of June, we've been on level 3. And one of the things that were lifted in level 3 was the sale of alcohol. So the ban was actually lifted from the 1st of June. And we've been seeing the effects of that and all of these things. And Julius Malema basically came up and he fought and said that there should be a second ban on alcohol, because there's a whole lot of lives that are being lost and violence that is taking place, which has always been taking
Does
place.
that include banning alcohol from his house?
Apparently he's against alcohol. Apparently he attributed his weight loss because he lost weight a few years ago, and he says because he stopped drinking alcohol.
But he promoted legalizing of weed.
Yes, no, he said that I actually remember reading a comment where he actually stated that a person will pick up a book after they smoke weed instead of
What
and they
a
will not
load
pick up
of
a book
twack.
after they drink alcohol. So he is for the
He's for weed and against alcohol.
Yes, he's for weed
My
and
goodness
he's against
gracious
alcohol.
me. So all of you that support the EFF who drink alcohol, Julius is against. And I'm against alcohol
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
I don't drink,
Yeah. So
but I'm against weed too.
yeah, no, we're
You know,
definitely against that.
Lawn is something you sit on. You don't smoke it.
Yeah. So he's basically saying
So
that.
can I just say, you
yeah.
know, they mocked a pastor for making people eat grass.
Yeah.
But we've got politicians who want to get people to smoke grass.
Right. Yep. But that's a story for another
Hypocrisy of society, I'm telling you.
day. No. Anyways.
Not that I'd make people eat grass,
no,
please.
we wouldn't, guys. Pastor Gavin does not make anyone eat grass.
I don't even, I think if
Not
you're going to
even
eat
smoke
grass,
it.
I'm going to say, hey, you stupid.
No. Anyways.
The closest thing to grass you eat is wheat in the form of bread or wheat picks.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's not even green.
But it's still grass.
Yeah.
I think it's a grass. Anyway, I might be wrong. Let's just move along before I look like Julius.
No. And he spoke about the fact that the country has a history of alcohol abuse, and because of that there's high fatalities and hospitalization and all of these things. But then, and okay, I agree with the fact that our country does have a problem with alcohol abuse and stuff like that. But then he went and did something. I mean, he was going so well. He could have just stopped there and be like, okay, that's the situation. But then he went and decided to say that, and he vowed. Not just said, he vowed to hold President Cyril Ramaphosa responsible for all deaths linked to alcohol consumption going forward. So he's saying that he's vowing, like he's making a declaration, basically saying that. He also said that he criticized the head of state for being spineless and accused him of jeopardizing black lives. And then...
Yeah, but he's also holding him accountable for any COVID-19 infections and people that die of COVID-19. It's not just the alcohol.
Yeah.
So he's holding the president accountable for people getting something that's more infectious than flu.
Yep. Basically,
so who's going to be held accountable for? Because if what he wants happens, people are going to starve to death. So can we hold him accountable for all those that are going to starve to death?
Basically,
or those that are going to die of cancer because they can't get screenings? Or those that are going to, the additional tuberculosis deaths? So can we hold him accountable for those? Because you see, on the one hand, you're saving COVID deaths, but you've got all these other deaths that are coming, as a result.
Yeah.
So the question is, if you added COVID plus drinking deaths, and you compared them to starvation and TB and cancer,
you would have more of the other.
Well, there's a lot of people that have got cancer that are not being treated.
Yeah, that's true.
Even now.
Yeah.
The hospitals are not really treating them.
The hospitals are quite busy as well, so they're more responsive to COVID-19 cases than they are to any other.
Oh, you've just got cancer. Oh, don't worry, you might die, but it's okay. But we're trying to save lives, guys. So if you die, it's okay.
Right.
That's what's going on here. Yes.
Anyway, but he stated, and this is me quoting him directly, and he said, a majority of the patients seen in trauma units in hospitals since 1st June were due to alcohol-related incidents, whether it be motor vehicle accidents or interpersonal violence. We warn Ramaphosa and all his accomplices that the mass deaths we'll witness over the coming weeks are due to the lack of decisiveness. Then he carries on and says that the painful reality is a result of incompetence, spinelessness, and cowardice of our government led by Cyril Ramaphosa, who has sacrificed the lives of South Africans in the interests of capital. We will hold the government and Ramaphosa personally responsible for the deliberate jeopardizing of black lives. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, other than the fact that he's a racist.
Yeah.
So, who cares about the other lives? And, the thing is, this is a guy who on the one hand says, all the people from Africa must come and they must inhabit every meter of South Africa. So he wants all the black Africans from all over Africa to come and inhabit, every meter. But then he goes and he speaks to other people. He says, get these foreigners out of here. The same guy. He will say these things. And he's saying, we're going to hold the president accountable for all of these deaths. And what about the deaths that would result from his policy? Because he's the one that says, in order to bring about the so-called workers' revolution and bring about socialism and all that kind of stuff, there's going to be pain. And, people are soldiers and they die with their boots on the ground. So what about all the people that because of his policies would die of starvation? What about the ANC who's got similar policies where people would die of starvation? What about those deaths? Yeah. Because if you look at their heroes, people like Stalin, many people died. And I've got to, if I can be honest, to me, Malema's a lot closer to Hitler than Stalin.
Yeah.
Because Stalin was a communist, which means all races are the same, all races are equal, whereas Hitler was a socialist, but he had a bent towards the Aryan race. So Malema is a socialist who's got a bent towards black people and who says black people are superior. And, he looks a little bit more like Hitler to me than Stalin. That's not a compliment either way.
Yeah.
Both of those men were atheistic and they were evil. They killed millions. Both of them killed millions. Yeah. So to look like either of them, Sir Malema, you commander-in-chief, that's fantastic because you're right there with the murderers.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you look at the values that basically fall under and things like that, they are evil. If you actually do research on what their background and what they actually believe in and all of these things, they're not for the people. They make it seem as if they're for the people.
They're for riots, they're for strikes, they're for violence, they're for any means to disrupt the current order so that they can take over.
Yeah.
So with their tactics, people die. So what about those deaths?
Yeah.
If you're going to hold someone accountable for deaths, then you better make sure you're squeaky clean. And Mr. Malema, you are full of mud, sir.
Yeah.
All over that red overall of yours. It's full of mud. Go get a wash. Good and clean and fresh, so yeah, it's good. Get yours to the washing machine, speak to your wife. Your oaks just organize. I'm sure you can get that thing nice and red again.
Yeah, and that's basically it. So that's what's happening with Julius Malema in terms of the politics in South Africa. Yes, we for the second ban of alcohol and things like that, and we do know about the fact that our country has a very bad reputation in terms of alcohol abuse, and it's not only because of the alcohol that there's violence cases in.
Yes.
I mean, since the lockdown, there's just been an increase in domestic violence and all of these things, and the alcohol probably also has, contributed to more cases like that. But now to disrespect the president the way that he did, and hold the president accountable for something and not holding himself accountable for something similar, basically. Yeah, it's just that word. It's just that word. But one thing that we as Christians always pray about, I know every morning we pray about this, Jesus taught us to pray like this, basically, is that we ask that whatever is in heaven is done here on earth.
Yeah.
So we have a song for you by the awesome, the amazing Reactive, called As Above, So Below.
Our Father in heaven, reveal who you are. Set the world right, Jesus, you're in charge. Do what's best as above, so below. We wanna see the kingdom established here and now. Give us bread, Lord, forgive us as we forgive. Save us from ourselves and protect us from the devil. Lord, you can do anything you want. You're a blazing beauty, I'm a soldier on duty. As above, so below. Jesus, change our lives, change our culture, change our nation. As above, so below. Jesus, change our lives, change our culture, change our nation. My Father in heaven, you know just what I need. Better than I do, thank you for loving me. Focus shifting from me to God. I do not pray to just get what I want here and now. Help me to play my part so you can play yours, God. Releasing arguments to receive your vindication. Lord, you can do anything you want. You're a blazing beauty, I'm a soldier on duty. As above, so below. Jesus, change our lives, change our culture, change our nation. As above, so below. Jesus, change our lives, change our culture, Change our nation as above, so below. Jesus, change our lives, change our culture, change our nation.
I told you that Reactive is awesome. Reactive
Yes.
is an awesome band. I think they're my favorite youth band. Anyways, that was a song by Reactive, As Above, So Below. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Now we're going to go into bank robbery. Yes, bank robbery does
Yes.
happen in South Africa.
Yes. Bank called VBS.
Yes, VBS. Now, the VBS scandal has been going on since October of 2018. So basically, this Wednesday morning was the first arrest that they made of the VBS
Yes.
scandals. And
They're saying that politicians are likely to be arrested.
yes, because apparently
His Royal Highness CRC Julius Malema being one of the guys, and his deputy Floyd Shabangu.
Yep.
Both of them could potentially be in the firing line.
Yep. The same person that we spoke about earlier on.
Yes, the one that's going to hold everyone accountable for everything.
Yes.
Yes.
And some of the people that were arrested, just a side note, I am a French speaking person, so some of these names are interesting to say. But yeah, so some of the people that have been arrested are Chifiwa Matodzi, who was the chairperson of VBS and Vela Investments, a company which obtained the majority shareholding in VBS through an alleged scam.
Yeah.
Poppy M.
Who pressed enter every time a transaction's happened.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the VBS CFO, Philip
No,
Truter,
sorry.
the
Okay,
treasurer.
Between the treasurer and the CFO.
Yeah.
That pressed the button.
The CFO, Philip Truter, the non-executive directors of VBS and nominees of the PIC Ernest Ninase and Paul Magula, and then KPMG auditor Sipho Malaba, CEO and executive director of VBS Andile Aramavunga, and the VBS non-executive director and chair of the Bank's Audit Committee, Lieutenant General Avashohi Ramikosi. So they basically were due to appear yesterday in court and stuff. So those are the people that were arrested. Do you want to quickly explain what the VBS scandal is and what your thoughts on the arrest basically are?
Well, basically, it's a bank that collapsed.
Yeah.
And it collapsed because there was rampant fraud.
Yeah.
And, you know, many people benefited from the fraud. And so obviously if you're stealing money from a bank, then you're stealing money from the depositors. Mm-hmm. Those that have deposited money in their bank accounts in that bank. And there's people in the ANC, there's also people in the EFF that have benefited from those stolen funds. And so therefore we have quite a few members of parliament who are at risk here.
Yeah.
You know, including his honourable member of parliament, the commander-in-chief of the economic freedom fighters himself, Julius Malema. And you know, it's absolutely disgusting what went on there. Mm-hmm. And the regulations, I mean, first of all, you've got the regulations surrounding how a public company must be managed, and then secondly you've also got the regulations around a bank.
Yeah.
You know, that also, you know, have been flouted. And basically what's happened here is rampant fraud. It's total fraud, and I mean, we're talking millions and billions of rands,
Yeah.
you know, that went missing. So it's an utter disgrace. It's one of the bigger, you know, corporate scandals in terms of fraud and stuff like that in South African history. And obviously if they're arresting these guys, then they'd probably have quite a strong case.
Yeah.
Obviously we'll have to see, you know, how well they did their work by when this thing goes to court. But obviously all of these guys, I'm sure, are going to have the best lawyers, and they're going to have a lot of politicians rooting for them, because a lot of them, you know, could easily topple as a result of findings that come out, you know, relating to this bank.
Yeah. If you look at the charges, they're facing 47 charges, and these charges
It's
include
8 people.
Yeah.
It's a lot of charges, eh?
That is a lot. Includes 5 charges of racketeering. Do you want to explain what racketeering is?
Racketeering is basically the the stuff of mobsters and money laundering and all sorts of things like that. Basically it's gaining money that doesn't belong to you. Shifting money and taking money away from where it rightly belongs to other places. Also using illicit money to gain political favor and all sorts of things like that.
Sure. And then 12 counts of theft.
Well, that's theft.
Yes.
They stole the money.
And then 7 charges of fraud, 15 charges of corruption, and 7 for money laundering. So all of that are the 47 charges basically that they face. And then
so money laundering obviously is when you take that illicit money and you put it through something and it comes out the other side as clean money. Something that appears to be a legit business or a legit whatever.
And when it all started, it was known as the Great Bank Heist. It was an investigation led by advocate Terry Matau, who found that close to 2 billion was looted from the bank with the alleged help of executive. So it's been quite a big scandal. And
I like the way they say alleged. So the bank runs out of money. They investigate. 2 billion rands missing.
Sure.
So the onus is on those executives to explain where that 2 billion is. And then they found, like Julius Malema and them were in WhatsApp messages saying, you're going to get X million, you're going to get Y million. He made for Chabanga.
I think I actually remember that.
It came out in a week or two ago.
Sure. Yep. So that's basically what's happened with VBS and stuff. I mean, imagine you were part of that bank and you had invested money in. Sure. And there's nothing, they can't really pay you back for that. And
no, your money's gone. You've saved the money, or you've been paid there, or something like that. And the next thing, 2 billion is missing, and the bank collapses. So it really is a shocking thing. And for me, it shows the total and utter contempt that the political class in South Africa has for the people. And all of these people, most of them complain to be liberation agents for the people, that they're there for the people and all of this, and it's not true. They're doing the opposite of what the people would want. If you know what I'm saying.
And so that's basically what's happening. I know that I'm going to keep track with the whole case because I really want to know how it's going to end. And I cross my fingers that there will not be corruption and the correct justice will actually take place within the courts. But knowing that Julius Malema is involved, we just keep our fingers crossed.
He's gotten away with a lot.
He's
him and people like Jacob Zuma. There's a tremendous amount of fraud that they've actually gotten away with already. Julius Malema, before the first election that the EFF actually stood in, he actually wasn't going to be able to stand because he had these outstanding bills with SARS, the South African Revenue Service, the taxman. And then what happened was that next thing someone donates 18 million rand to him, so he pays his debts because it was 18 million rand. And that wasn't the full amount that he owed. I don't think you and I would have got that 18 million rand deal. But then on top of that, what then happens is that if he gets given 18 million rand, he's supposed to pay a tax on it. Which he didn't.
He didn't.
So even there, how did SARS not investigate? Where'd you get this 18 million from? And then also they see some of the properties and things like that. And then what happened was that Julius got some fancy lawyers and they got him off that. What I also heard, one of the properties that was taken from him was a game farm. And, after it was taken, soon after, and I heard under the covers, it's never been in the media, that he was given another game farm.
Really?
25 hectares in the Waterberg, yes.
Sure.
And then later on he went to court and got the other one. So the last time I checked, I think he owns 2 game farms.
So he benefited from...
Yeah, well the thing is, I'm a white guy. How does this guy chirp me about wealth?
I don't think he's the right face. Or
no, he's got no right to talk, and that's the problem. Most of these people that are talking and saying stuff against white people are guys like Julius Malema, who've got 10 times or 200 times more money than most white people, and then they claim because of the color of their skin to be talking for the poor.
And they're not.
No, they're not.
because they do not experience what the poor experience.
No, they do not.
Yeah, so that's basically it. Let us know what your thoughts are on the whole thing with what we spoke about in the first segment with Julius Malema and what he basically said to the president and all of that, and what your thoughts are on the VBS. Have you been keeping up with this news? Is this the first time you're hearing about it? Are you shocked? So let us know what your thoughts are on our social media pages. Like I said, this is the Political Show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, are you ready?
You can stream Reactive's very own The Movement album on Spotify and Apple iTunes. Reactive is a movement.
Welcome back. So we've been speaking about South African politics and what's been happening, and in terms of the bank industry as well, and the fact that they've finally arrested people tied to the VBS scandal, and they have 47 charges against them. So it's going to be quite an interesting, something at least interesting happening while we in this lockdown and things and stuff. Yeah, so that's what we've been speaking about. Do you have a word of hope for us?
Yes. The thing is, looking at this, we can get quite discouraged.
Yeah.
And the reality is that on the one end, justice must prevail, and the systems of justice must take their course.
Yeah.
That we leave in the hands of the Lord.
Yeah.
If they don't get justice, you said you hope that justice is going to happen. So whether it does or not, the Lord will hold everyone to account.
Yeah.
And eventually they will be held to account. And the only way that they're going to get away with the justice is if they accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Because all of us have sinned. And so all of us have things like Julius Malema that we need to be forgiven for.
Yeah.
And that's why looking at the forgiveness we receive from God and the forgiveness he wants to give to others. Jesus, when he's teaching his disciples to pray the Lord's Prayer, he says, forgive us our trespasses, or forgive us our sins as we forgive those that have sinned against us.
Yeah.
So that is a very, very important thing there, that we need to understand that every one of us are like Julius Malema or these VBS people that have been arrested. Think of the people maybe that you think a lot worse things of even than those people.
Yeah.
Think about the rapist and the child molester and all of those sorts of things, the white cop that kills a black man, whatever the worst pictures you can think of. I want you to think of those pictures. And in doing those things, they've sinned against God. But equally, every single one of us has sinned against God.
Yeah.
You go and you read Psalm 51, it says, against you and you only have I sinned. And that's an important thing that we need to understand there, is that we need forgiveness.
Yeah.
Just as much as a Julius Malema or whoever would need forgiveness, we need forgiveness. And it starts here with coming to the cross, having an encounter with Jesus, accepting by faith that he's done what he needs to do for our lives. And then, as we have been forgiven, we need to forgive others.
Yes.
That's an incredibly important point
Yeah.
there. And so we need to forgive guys that do these kinds of things. Because at the end of the day, if we don't, we're cursing ourselves and we're laying ourselves down with burdens that we were not designed to carry.
Yeah.
It's very important that we understand this.
Yeah.
It's very important that we grab a hold of this.
Yeah.
All right? It's very important that we overcome things, in this way by letting these things go. Because if we hold on to things like this now, I just think of myself. I'm very politically aware, and I see politicians in our country and around the world who are talking the biggest load of hogwash. Now, I can get very angry about that, and some people do. But you know what? I'm powerless to change it, Cynthia. You know that.
Yeah.
Really?
There's
The only thing
nothing-
that's in my power to do is to go out and to preach a gospel.
Yeah.
And so now if I just sit and I hold on to the stuff, then what happens is I can get angry, I can get mad, I can want revenge, and eventually I get disillusioned because I realize it's impossible for me to change it, or I can forgive.
Yeah.
When I hold on to the issue, I'm not hurting. Let's say now, and I'll just use an example. It's a stupid example, but I use. Let's say now I feel hurt by Julius Malema, by what he's done. Okay, by me holding issues against him is not going to do anything to him.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not hurting him by holding on to the issue. I'm hurting myself. And that's why Jesus said, forgive us our sins as we forgive those that have sinned against us.
Yeah.
And so we forgive. We let our issues go. We don't travel with heavy baggage, because to carry with all sorts of unforgiveness is heavy baggage.
Yeah, it's true.
You know? And I've just had to speak to some family members of a young girl, you know, that was murdered last week. And we had to do a funeral this week, you know, and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you know, it's not going to help that family to say, right, we're not going to rest until there's justice for, you know, and there should be justice. I'm not disputing that there should be justice, but if you're going to take up the thing to say you're going to ensure that there's justice, when are you ever going to get over this? All right, trust God that the authorities will do what the authorities are supposed to do, and listen, if the person doesn't face justice in this life, they will face justice before God. All right, and pray that justice will happen. If that person in the future gives their life to Jesus, guess what? Justice was done, because the murder of that girl was put onto to Jesus at the cross.
Yeah.
And so that's what we need to realize. God frees us when we forgive.
Yeah.
When we drop our desire for justice, He frees us, and guess what? We can then get all the blessings that we should have, from Him in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly freeing. It makes us incredibly light, and it's an incredible blessing.
He's basically saying, just forgive, and that is the gist of it. I mean, I had to learn that in my life as well, where you just forgive. So it's a powerful remedy for everything, basically, and stuff. So remember, you can catch our awesome shows on our different platforms. We're on www.activefm.co.za. We're on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, and you can also catch us on Spotify. So get downloading awesome shows. We've got the new show, we've got the politics show, we've got
The movie show.
we've got All Things Girls, we've got The Cave, and we got The Void, and we've got the we just got so many awesome shows.
Music shows.
Yes, we do. So you can have, I don't know, there's this new type of parties where people just have music in the headphones and then they dance. You can have that at home and just go crazy with Active FM, because Active FM has some hot music, I'm telling you. Get downloading shows and get commenting on our social media pages. We're on Instagram at ActiveFM777. We're on Facebook /ActiveFM, and we're on Twitter at ActiveFM. And we're also on YouTube. Just search for ActiveFM on YouTube and you will find us there. And every Monday, 9 a.m. GMT +2 till 9:30. So for 30 minutes, we've got Active FM live shows on Facebook, and they are very hilarious, I'm telling you. Really funny. So go check those out. Get downloading, get commenting. Let us know what your thoughts are, because we always enjoy being interactive with you and you letting us know what your thoughts are.
Auf Wiedersehen, guten Tag, and see you later.
Peace.
Active FM. Radio has never been better.